By the late 15th century, Europe was a world hungry for expansion. The Silk Road, once the lifeblood of trade with the East, was now choked by political turmoil. The Ottoman Empire controlled key routes, driving up prices for spices, silk, and gold. The age of exploration was dawning, and with it came daring visions of new paths to the riches of Asia. But among the dreamers, one man stood out, a Genoese sailor whose ambition would change history forever: Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus was born in 1451 in Genoa, a thriving maritime hub in modern-day Italy. As the son of a wool weaver, Columbus was no stranger to hard work. But young Christopher was captivated not by the loom, but by the sea. He began his maritime career in his teens, working as a sailor and merchant, learning the art of navigation, and dreaming of adventure. In Columbus's world, trade routes were the arteries of wealth and power. But the Ottoman Empire had cut off Europe's direct access to Asia, driving European explorers to seek alternative paths to the riches of the East. Portugal had its eyes on Africa, and Spain had its ambitions set on something even bolder: the unknown. Columbus is shown studying maps and celestial charts by candlelight, a determined look on his face. Columbus wasn't just a sailor, he was a dreamer. He believed he could reach Asia by sailing west, a radical idea in his time. While most educated people knew the Earth was round, the size of the world was still hotly debated. Columbus calculated the Earth's circumference to be much smaller than most experts believed, leading him to the audacious conclusion that Asia could be reached in weeks, not months. In 1492, Columbus found his patrons in Spain. Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand, fresh from their victory over the Moors, were eager to expand their influence. Columbus's bold plan promised glory and riches, and Spain was ready to take the gamble. After years of struggle, Columbus secured funding for his first voyage, setting the stage for an encounter that would forever reshape the world. To understand the full story, we must first follow him into the uncharted waters of his first voyage. The year is 1492. 3 ships, Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria, set sail from Spain, carrying hopes of untold riches and new trade routes. This voyage, led by Christopher Columbus, would change the course of history forever. But what truly happened on this perilous journey across the Atlantic? In August 1492, Columbus departed from the Spanish port of Palos de la Frontera with his small fleet. The expedition faced daunting uncertainties. The Atlantic was vast, and for most sailors, it represented the edge of the known world. For over a month, Columbus and his crew navigated uncharted waters, guided only by the stars, primitive maps, and their unyielding determination. Tensions among the crew mounted as days turned into weeks without sight of land. Morale wavered, with murmurs of mutiny whispering through the decks. But Columbus, steadfast in his belief, reassured them with promises of imminent discovery. His logs recorded sightings of floating vegetation and birds, signs that land was near. Then, on October 12, a sailor aboard the Pinta cried out, "Tierra!" Land had been sighted. Columbus had reached what he believed was the Indies, though it was in fact, the Bahamian island of San Salvador. Stepping ashore, Columbus encountered a world utterly foreign to European eyes. The lush landscape teemed with unfamiliar plants and animals, while the indigenous Taino people welcomed him with gifts and curiosity. Columbus, however, misinterpreted their kindness as signs of wealth and potential subjugation, declaring the land for Spain. This act, seemingly symbolic, marked the start of profound cultural upheaval. The arrival of Europeans introduced devastating consequences for the Taino and other indigenous populations. Among the most significant was the spread of diseases such as smallpox, measles, and influenza. These illnesses, to which the native populations had no immunity, caused catastrophic mortality rates, wiping out entire communities within a few decades. From San Salvador, Columbus pressed onward, exploring parts of modern-day Cuba and Hispaniola. Hispaniola, in particular, would become pivotal. While the journey initially brought hope, it soon turned tragic. The Santa Maria ran aground off Hispaniola's coast, forcing Columbus to leave behind a group of men to establish a settlement called La Navidad. The interactions with the indigenous people ranged from moments of peaceful exchange to episodes of tension and misunderstanding. For the Taino, these encounters were the beginning of a transformation, one that would alter their lives forever. In early 1493, Columbus returned to Spain aboard the Nina, bringing with him tales of newfound lands, exotic plants, and a few indigenous individuals taken as captives. He was celebrated as a hero and given the title, Admiral of the Ocean Sea. The voyage was proclaimed a success, but it was only the beginning of Columbus's relentless pursuit of the New World. In 1493, Columbus set sail again, this time at the helm of a much larger expedition. With 17 ships and over 1,000 settlers, this journey was not just about exploration, it marked the beginning of colonization. Arriving in the Caribbean, Columbus discovered new islands, including Dominica and Guadeloupe, before reaching Hispaniola. There, he found the small settlement of La Navidad, established during his first voyage, destroyed by conflict with the Taino. Determined to solidify Spanish control, Columbus established new colonies, such as La Isabela, the first permanent European settlement in the Americas. However, early attempts at colonization were fraught with hardship, food shortages, disease, and tensions with the indigenous population painted a grim picture of European expansion. Yet, Columbus pressed on, exploring Puerto Rico and charting the islands of the Lesser Antilles. Columbus's third voyage in 1498 aimed to expand upon earlier discoveries and secure additional resources. Setting a course farther south, he reached the South American mainland, near present-day Venezuela, an achievement that reshaped Europe's understanding of the New World. Upon encountering the Orinoco River, Columbus realized he had found a vast landmass, which he believed might be part of the fabled Garden of Eden. However, his triumphs were overshadowed by the growing unrest in Hispaniola. Mismanagement, cruelty toward the indigenous people, and disputes among settlers led to his temporary arrest and return to Spain in chains, a stark fall from the glory of his earlier achievements. Columbus's expeditions profoundly reshaped the course of history, igniting an unprecedented era of global exchange. The Columbian Exchange transformed the Old and New Worlds, introducing crops like potatoes, maize, and tomatoes to Europe while bringing wheat, sugarcane, livestock, and, tragically, diseases like smallpox and measles to the Americas. These exchanges fueled economic growth but also decimated indigenous populations, with estimates suggesting millions perished from disease and exploitation. Politically, Columbus's voyages solidified Spain's dominance, leading to the Treaty of Tordesillas in 1494, which divided the newly discovered lands between Spain and Portugal. This agreement sparked rapid colonization, as European powers scrambled to exploit newfound resources, irrevocably altering the Americas' cultural and social fabric. Yet Columbus's legacy remains contentious. While celebrated as a visionary navigator, he also symbolizes the beginning of colonial oppression and indigenous suffering. His role in enslaving and exploiting native peoples stains his achievements, sparking debates about his place in history.